What can we do? Only money that I want.
Oh man, it's only money that we want. That's so true. Dice, that one is for you. But it's for all of us really, because we all want money. Even the crooks do. Lucas Molefe joins us tonight to help us understand how sometimes fraudsters try to push their luck through phishing attacks. That's the fake notifications, the SMSs, the calls, the WhatsApps, essentially trying to get your data, your information, and putting you under pressure to say, hey, you owe SARS now, pay me now. And as you've heard, there are ways within which SARS does effectively communicate with you in a secured manner. Lucas Molefe is a cybersecurity expert at ESET South Africa. Lucas, such a pleasure to have you. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
I'm excited to speak to you, Lucas, because a moment ago we did speak to the SARS commissioner who gave us some perspective on how SARS adequately communicates with with taxpayers on outstanding taxes. And he mentioned the word they don't use unsecured communication. Maybe let's elaborate on that, because some of us don't always fully understand what unsecured communication might look like and feel like until we've already given the OTP, shared the banking details, and clicked on the link.
So in essence, what they basically mean is that, an example, when you receive an email based on your email address, it's most of the time not secured, right? And what SARS would then do, what they basically saying is that whatever we speak to you about, it's either from your profile, where a notification will pop from your profile, right? That is talking about you doing your returns, okay? But also, even when they send you an email from a SARS perspective, they don't tell you do everything from your email point. It directs you to their website, which their website, in essence, they are saying that it is secure, right? And not only that, I do believe they have a mobile application, and this is one of the reasons I believe that they actually released and said, everyone, we have an application, a mobile application that you can actually use to make sure that you are secured, to make sure that there is no man in the middle trying to get your information. So it becomes a secured way of communication, right? But not only that, an example, recently, if not yesterday, I got a notification on one of my banks that was speaking about related SARS scams that are happening. So that is not actually from the bank. It's actually SARS communicating to the bank, making sure that the user is actually understanding how heavy or how dangerous this can be by giving them that information. So I would say that way I feel, and I believe what he was saying is that that would be the authentic and secure communication line.
100%. And this is important, right? Because not only is it critical for these institutions to be mindful of the communication between themselves, but even with us as consumers. And many people have reached out before to say, I got an email, I got a call, there's an SMS, I pressed on this link. And it sounds like we keep on repeating the basics, but that's actually how scammers get us best, through the basic ways of scamming, phishing, vishing, and many other ways. But talk to us as to what appears to be very prominent right now when it comes to scammers during the tax season.
So in actual fact, the main reason why they do this, right, is to make sure they make money. Right, by getting the information of someone, it's all about making money. All right, and essentially we call this the hunting season for cybersecurity criminals, okay? Whether you are not aware of any e-filing that you need to submit or anything, but they are aware on one thing, that e-filing is basically a highly sensitive financial data that is being shifted or being filled from these digital platforms, right? And criminals love predictability. Okay, so like you mentioned, there are so many things that are that they've been doing, and we know about these things. But you find that someone would say that there's an SMS that I got, and they clicked and they got scammed that particular way. But I can tell you right now, ever since AI came, there was definitely a spike from that point. Right? An example, AI, at first, phishing emails and SMSs, you could pick up that this is an actual phishing or smishing based on what? The grammar that they would use, right? You'll find that they would misspell your name or misspell something. Okay, but now with AI, what they have done is that it looks more authentic, but essentially it is just mimicking what SARS would literally call legitimate communication from them, right? And in this manner, try and trap the individual to make sure that they not easily spot this, or they're not easily picking up that this is actually a scam or a phishing that is being communicated at them at that point.
100%. Are there certain behaviors, though, that make it easy? I guess our behavioral patterns that make us more vulnerable and susceptible to being, fraud, victims of fraud?
Yeah, there is. And honestly, the biggest mistake is that we like to react quickly, right? I'm expecting the SARS to give me something, or I'm expecting, there's an expectation for me to fill in my filing. And at the same time, if I don't fill it, it becomes a problem. So I need to do it as soon as possible. And I'm getting the time to do this, right? Now, scammers master what we call psychology, right? They would deliberately use psychological triggers to trigger someone, like an example, giving them a promising unexpected tax refund, right? Or a panicking pending audit, okay? Now, because of that false sense of urgency that is created, definitely they would want me to feel the pressure into clicking on the link, or even giving away my login details before I have a chance to actually step back and think, is this really legitimate? Is this really from SARS? You'll find that people will say, but I got an email saying I owe SARS this particular amount, right? I don't know of that. And then some who are old school would actually go to SARS and not worry about what's happening online, and go to SARS and says, no, you sort it. You're fine. Don't worry about anything. Everything is fine. But now someone who doesn't have the time to go to SARS, and with technology has made it easy for us to log in on our accounts or create e-filing accounts, and it makes it easy. Now, someone's like, okay, I'm just going to quickly sort this out because I know I don't have a lot of issues, so mine should automatically do things. For example, or with the automation that even SARS gave us, where automatically it looks and it does your e-filing and all those things and see you. Now, in that particular case, you get an email saying that based on the automation, we owe you this amount, and you're going to want to see that amount, right? Now, not knowing this is actually a sense of urgency, or a sense of being given a promise that money is coming, and when you look at that, you're going to want to click on it. And this is why it's very important to look at things and not allow scammers to basically emotionally manipulate people. And that's what they rely on.
Oh, 100%. You've given us so many nuggets there, Lucas. Managing our emotions, not reacting very quickly without reassessing the information, and even going back to the source to verify it. And also just making sure that our digital habits, digital hygiene is also in order to reduce the risk of falling prey to these victims. Lucas, we'll have to leave it there for today, but thank you so much for your time, sir.
You're welcome.
Lucas Molefe joining us as a cybersecurity expert at ESET Southern Africa. As you've heard, Lucas reminding you, don't get caught out by the scammers. If you get a message and they put you under pressure, hold off on the immediate reaction. And worst case scenario, go back to SARS to verify. And that goes for any kind of scam that might put you under pressure, whether it's the OTPs and the likes. And make sure you update your passwords. Capital P at double S. Capital W is not a password. Make sure you update your passwords to make sure that it's more difficult for the hackers to get into your system, essentially.